Good morning. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It's kind of gloomy here in Southern California. It's cloudy, kind of overcast. And today was the day that I woke up and thinking, you know, do I really want to do this? Maybe this is not something I wanted to do. And you get that yucky feeling of, today is just not my day, right? But we are here and we're going to show up every single day. And what bravery stands for, my guest today is going to tell you a lot about it. So joining me today is one of my favorite students. Nobody hear this, okay? Nobody hear this on camera. She's one of my favorite from the Brave Your Brand Challenge, and then we connected because both she and I are in the same community, the iPad community. So Kruti Kapadia, she is a business and leadership coach and the CEO of Kapadia Coaching. Her passion is to help mid-senior corporate professionals develop and execute a plan to launch their first business and replace their corporate income. Now, you might be sitting there and thinking, today I don't feel like is the day I want to go in and clock in. Maybe after hearing from Kruti, you're going to have a second thoughts. All right. Kruti's clients can benefit a lot from her 14 years of management consulting experience from the top 25 consulting firm and her experience in communication and change management. Kruti's definition of bravery is accepting full responsibility for bringing more purpose and happiness in your life. So I don't want to take up too much of her time because I'm super excited to bring her on. This is her first show here with me, and I'm so honored to have her here. Kruti.
Hi, Michelle, and hi, everyone else. I'm so super excited to be here.
Look at that big bright smile. And I wasn't like exaggerating when I said you were my favorite because camera, there's a lot of people who's camera shy, but no, not you.
No, not me. And I have to say, I don't think I fully appreciated your introductory music to your show. It is so peppy. I was like, as the music was running, I was backstage and I was like, yeah, such a great way to kind of mobilize your audience. I love the music.
It's kind of like showing up without personality, right? And one of the things that I truly love about all the videos that you have done, and I know, you have mentioned in one of the videos that it was your first video, and I was just like, no, this girl is a natural. So I don't know what she's talking about. She's so natural on the camera. So I really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So Kruti, I would love to hear more about how you decided, what inspired you to become a coach.
Yeah, I am extremely passionate about personal development. I always have been. Unlike a lot of us, I've had situations in my life from a very young age where that challenged just my individuality, my authenticity, and I was just sort of almost spiritually led to personal development. The very first book that I bought, I remember I was going through a really hard time in college and I faced the disappointment of my family and my friends and fellow students. And I went into Barnes and Nobles, and the first book I found was like Creative Visualization by an author named Shakti Gawain. And I picked it up and I don't know what it was about it, but there was just a magic in the words in that book. And it really, the premise was about being able to create your reality, that through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, we are responsible for the circumstances in our life. And that was so profound for me. And this book in particular really leveraged my my sort of interest in visualization. I'm a very visual person. And after reading that book, I really just started being deliberate about the things that I wanted to create and experience in my life. And that was like 2021. And now, many years later, I've really developed a mastery of manifestation and managing sort of your inner world to be in control of your outer world to the extent
Mhm.
that we can be. And I think as a result of that, I just sort of the floodgates opened, and I have been reading all sorts of books that go beyond the law of attraction, personal performance, productivity, uh, diplomacy, influence, all those kinds of things. And so
Mhm.
personal development for me, if I didn't have to worry about money, if I didn't have to worry about anything in life, that's just what I would be doing 24/7.
I can imagine you doing like doing this 24/7. Like the minute that you wake up, you're all on it. You're full on.
I'm full on.
There's a saying actually. They said that if two people walk into the room, trust the one who came in with the book.
I like that. I like that. Or in my case, the audiobook, or probably like an e-reader.
I would have to say that I started to cheat a little bit. So instead of like, because I got so many books and there's no room to place it, so I decided to, I'm going to turn into an audio person. So audiobooks it
Yeah,
is.
it's great.
Yeah. So, Kruti, you've been in the corporate world, you said, for over 20 years.
No, it's been about over 14 years.
14 years. What's been the biggest struggle as a corporate, coming off someone from corporate environment? Like, what are some of the struggles that you were going through that led to that aha moment?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I'm really good at what I do. Consulting is it's a very externally focused profession. You are learning a lot of methodologies, theories, that you're then applying for your client. But what was really missing for me was just, to be honest, a passion for it, a true passion for it. I'm somebody who really loves studying people, and there were folks that I joined the company with who had transcended the corporate ladder. They're now sort of vice presidents and principals. And while I'm at a senior level, I'm not where they are. And that's just not like me. I love expansion. Expansion is a core value of mine. I love growth. I love challenging myself. But I just couldn't seem to be able to do it in this context, my current corporate context. And it really led me to kind of hit the pause button, because I am so committed to creating a wonderful life for myself.
Mhm.
I am somebody who really just doesn't see the demarcation between my professional and personal world. I feel that, like, in order to really reach the pinnacle of success, how you define it, or at least as how I define it, I have to be really, really connected to what it is I'm doing, and that can be outside of the 9 to 5 space. And so I really just wanted to take some time to think about what it is that I just love to do. What what is it that I do that uses the totality of who I am? My
Mhm.
creative self, the self that's like interested in the law of attraction, the part of me that is also interested in communications and change management, but then helping others, coaching others, being a really strong diplomatic person, strong
Mhm.
with my engagement with others. And how do I bring all of that together, or what profession really brings that together? And after doing some research, I really discovered that coaching might be a good path for me. And in many ways, I have not been disappointed.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Sounds like a lot. I hear this a lot from my corporate friends. So I work for corporate. I am not in a management position, but I hear them saying this all the time, that they feel like they're being sandwiched between the people below them and then the people on top of them. And there they are, they're kind of being sandwiched together, and there's like they feel trapped.
mhm.
And so a lot of them either feeling that stress or burned out, and eventually people is going to tap out.
Yeah, yeah. But there's such a positive side to it as well. When you've been in the working world for a while, you have developed an extraordinary set of skills that you may or may not realize could be translatable into many different professions. And I'm really interested in helping individuals who want to launch their business for the first time. Mm-hmm. It's a business, when they come to me, they've already made the commitment to do so. What they really need is someone to support them in creating kind of like a launch plan, a blueprint, and then helping them execute that launch plan. And when they do that, they begin to realize, wow, there is so much that I have already done that I can bring into this new chapter in my life. I'm not starting from ground zero. And that's the beauty of sort of being mid to senior level, when you're transitioning and starting a job. Starting a business for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm curious because we're talking about blueprint, and I'm like having a visual of what that blueprint looked like. And I think one of the key word that you brought up is the business plan. I think, starting out, when I first started out my business, I didn't know that there's such a thing. I actually need to sit down and think about my business plan. So why is it important to have a business plan?
Well, I think it's really, so my way of working is a little bit different. I think a business plan, and we'll get into it, is definitely really important because it gives you that structure and that foresight. But even before that, I like to start working with my clients on their energy and their mindset around starting a business, because that is the very foundation in which you're going to launch from. You can have a business plan, you can have a marketing plan, you can have a website, but if your foundation, or in other words, your mindset, your energy is not aligned to success, you're going to sabotage yourself. And so I like to invest a decent bit of time with my clients, really understanding how they feel about starting their business. What is their belief system about success, about money, about making this transition? Mm-hmm. What is their family saying about this transition? And once you have an awareness of what your mindset is, you can then be cognizant of the foundation in which you're launching from. And your mindset is something that will just routinely take tweaking and work. But once we've got that in a good place, you can start developing what I call sort of the external pieces, one of them being the business plan. And the business plan is really just what you feel are the various components that you need to think about when starting your business. We don't necessarily need to follow a template, although we can, but it's really thinking about what is important to you when you're going to be launching your business. And that means, what profit model are you going to follow? What is the investment that you are planning to make up front? How are we going to track that money? Where is that money going to go? Who are going to be potential collaborators? Or are you going to go at this alone? What are some of the risks involved? And what are some of the mitigation strategies? So we have all of that in place. And that does a couple things. It gives you a structure in which to launch your business, but it also gives you that incredible, important feeling of confidence and clarity. And I cannot underestimate how important having confidence and clarity is when you're launching your business. Having that emotion available to you, it does wonders as you sort of move forward in the process.
So beautiful. See, I knew you had so much to offer to the audience, and I'm like, okay, check. Oh, I got to do that one. I'm like having a mental checklist in my head as I go through this. And, who knows, maybe that would be one of your freebie, to give people a checklist as they first start, like a blueprint.
That's a great idea.
Tell me more about the foundational, like the energy that you were talking about. Because I think, for me, I think I know what you mean, like by saying energy, but maybe some of our audience who's not an iPad graduate, they might not know what energy is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some support from you around this definition would be appreciated here, because I think you have experience communicating and energy to audiences that are outside of the coaching space. But for me, it's simple. It's about energy. In other words, for me, is like momentum. It's the momentum you create when you put your thoughts and emotions together. Your thoughts create your emotions. Emotions create that motivation or lack of motivation to move forward. And so another way of looking at energy is just your motivation. How motivated are you to move forward? How does belief system, your belief system support your your desire to launch a business and your desire to reach a certain set of goals? If you believe, for example, that money is a scarcity in your life, it's going to be really challenging for you to get out there and get capital for your business if you believe that money is a scarcity, because you're going to be approaching these conversations from a scarcity mindset and not giving your all. And when you're approaching something with a scarcity mindset or a abundant mindset, that is, in my opinion, another way of saying energy. That's the energy you're bringing into that discussion. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people can relate to that, right? Because that, the way that we think, and I think it also goes back to the law of attraction, what you think, what you will manifest. So think positively, then things that's positive is going to attract to you. If you think negative, then negative things will attract to you. And I also think of the energy as just kind of like the overall sense of everything that we touch, everything what we see. And I always refer it back to Einstein. Einstein talked about in the quantum physics sense, where everything in this world is comprises of energy. So the moment that you walk into a meeting room and there's whoosh, that negative feeling, no one needs to say a word, but you suddenly just picked up that vibration, that vibe. And people say it's a vibe, right? Energy
it is
is
a vibe.
a vibe.
Yes, that's exactly the right way to do it. You go into a party and you're left feeling uplifted and you have no real idea why. After talking with one person, talk to another person and you just feel really kind of depressed or you feel down and you can't quite put your finger on it, but it is that exchange of energy. It's like that undefined kind of vibe. And I liked how you phrased it.
Yeah, it's a vibe. Like going to a party, I'm suddenly, you know what? I like that person. I'm gonna go talk to her. She has a good vibe.
Yeah, and speaking of vibes, and I'm sure your audience can absolutely understand what I'm saying here. Michelle has the best vibe ever. She and I have never met in person, but her vibe, her energy just comes through in her communication, her desire to authentically want to build a community and to support other coaches. It's extraordinary. And if you're looking to define good energy, just exchange a few messages with Michelle and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Thank you, Kruti. It's funny how you say that, because yesterday I was on a speaking engagement, and the person also asked me, so is there anything that you want from the audience? I'm like, no, not really. Like most people would think about, hey, don't you want to get their email list? Don't you want to get them something? You want to turn them into client. My approach is really, and it goes back to what you were saying about the energy. And I think as a business owner, it's really important to really focus on what you were talking about earlier, setting that foundation of energy. Your vibe is going to attract a lot of the clients that comes to you. And you don't want to be out there and then saying, well, you know what, let me see what I can get from her before I start talking to her, right? Because that's a different mindset than versus going up and showing to someone, say, hey, I really like to get to know you. Whether you want to sign up with me or not, that's okay. That's just have a talk.
Right.
So different vibe.
Yeah, and if we distill that further, I bet, Michelle, if we had a little bit more time and we really took an investigative look into your mindset, I bet you have some really, really strong beliefs about running a business and getting clients. I bet your belief system is really positive because that translates into the comfortable energy that you communicate out to people. You know, I've been in situations where I've spoken with coaches who have done all the right things. They've made their sales pitch. They've done all of the right things. And for whatever reason, it wasn't a good fit for me, but I felt them challenging that, challenging what I was saying, pushing back on what I was saying. I felt them wanting to forcibly bring me over to their side. Mm-hmm. What is it that I need to do to make you a client? You know, and I bet if we look at their mindset, if we did a little bit of forensic investigation, we would find that they actually have a negative mindset about getting clients and a scarcity mindset.
Yeah. I completely agree with you. I've encountered a few with a business owner, you know, sometimes it's even just everyday business people. They pitch you on the LinkedIn, and that's something that I don't personally appreciate, and therefore I don't want to do that to someone else. Yeah. So always have that in the back of your mind. But I do want to go back to, you know, what we were talking about, you know, helping the clients, setting up that foundation by understanding their energy. How do you do that with the clients?
I think it's really just conversation. It's really asking questions that help them reflect on their desire to set up a business. It's helping them mine that data through questions, and then it's equipping them with tools they can use to help gradually shift their mindset. And the tools can be anything from what I call scripting, which is essentially writing a couple paragraphs about how you want things to go, which allows you to kind of step into the feeling of what it is that you want to create, because your subconscious really doesn't know anything different. And when you can utilize tools that activate the subconscious, which is really where that shift can happen, you can then start moving towards aligning your mindset with the goals that you want to achieve.
That sounds really interesting, because how is that different than journaling? Like scripting, how is that different than journaling?
Well, journaling is a way to sort of express what you're feeling in the current moment. Mm-hmm. It's a good way to kind of reflect on what's going on right now in your life. Scripting is a way that you step into what you want to create and write from a future perspective. So, for example, if I'm preparing for a podcast with Michelle, my script in the morning will be a couple sentences or paragraphs, depending on what I'm inspired to write, will be, I just did this phenomenal podcast with Michelle. I can't believe how wonderfully it went. I felt so excited and engaged and connected during the whole experience. And I just feel so great that it went really, really well. So what you're doing is you're stepping into the future, what you want to create, and you're writing it down in the way that you want it to go.
So in other words, it almost feels like it's a positive affirmation done correctly.
Yeah. It's sort of like a bunch of positive affirmations strung together to form the story of what it is that you want to create. And it can be used for anything. It can be used for dates. It could be used for meetings that you have coming up. And it really doesn't take that long of a time. You don't have to write pages and pages. Mm-hmm. Just a couple of sentences to really get you into that mindset.
I love it. I love it. And I think, you know, since we're on this topic of almost like writing our positive affirmation, I wonder if you can tell us about what is positive affirmation done the incorrect way, the wrong way, versus positive affirmation being done the right way.
Yeah, positive affirmations done the right way are speaking to what it is you want to create. So, for example, I love that I sleep really well at night. That's the correct way to write an affirmation. A wrong way to write the affirmation is, I'm so glad I don't snore at night. I don't snore versus I sleep well. So that to me is an example of a right way versus a wrong way.
I love it. I think a lot of people don't realize that they've been doing the positive affirmation kind of, without neglecting the energy that's behind it. So we
That's
write,
right.
but there's energy behind how we write. So you always wanted to keep it in the present tense and actually, future going to the future.
Going to the future. That's right.
Yeah.
And I also, and I'm no expert, and so I'll kind of touch upon this briefly, but there's plenty of resources available online. I also have been practicing a healing modality called emotional freedom techniques. And it's another word for it is tapping. And it's using acupressure to release negative beliefs that you have, because our belief systems are tied to emotional energy that's stored in the body. And very often, by tapping on certain points on our face and on our bodies, we can release that negative energy that we're holding in the body and shift our mind to receive something more positive. And again, I'm not an expert, but look up emotional freedom techniques on the internet, and you'll find tons of resources. And there's also tons of videos dealing with specific emotions on YouTube, and they're all free.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of future, and now that we release all that we carry, all that negativity that we carry from the corporate world, moving and looking into the future, what do you got going on, Kruti?
Well, I am just, I continue to beautifully manage my 9 to 5 job and my coaching business, which is a very important passion of mine. And I love the balancing act. And I'm getting better and better at managing all the nuances that are involved with having a full-time job and a side hustle. But my ultimate goal is to be able to one day step into my coaching business on a full-time basis and to serve as many clients as possible and to help people really get the economy going with their small business ideas, because it's so possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree with you. Yeah, I'm having goosebumps as you're speaking about it because I can actually see it. It's like true. We're in August, so I can like almost seeing you sending me a message. Michelle, I just quit my full-time job. Here I am, full-time coach now.
Absolutely.
So I know you brought some gifts to my audience. What did you bring?
Well, I would love to meet with anyone who is in the situation where they are in a 9 to 5 corporate job. You don't necessarily hate your job, but you know that it is not something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life. You've got this phenomenal business idea. You're committed. You're behind it. It speaks to the truth of who you are, but you're just kind of unsure where to get started. You've never run a business before, and you've come this far in your career. You're scared of making that leap, but at the same time, that leap is going to make you really, really happy. I would just love to meet with you and offer you a 30-minute free coaching conversation, and we can dig a little bit deeper into what your goals are and come up with something that can kickstart your process. So I'm
Where can
available.
we find you?
Oh, you can email me at Kapadia, that's KKAPADIA at kapadiacoach.com. And I'll make sure to provide Michelle with that email address so she can add them to her notes. And it's right there too. So please do email me. I'd love to meet with you and talk to you further. And even if it's just a conversation to say hi, telling me about your context, that's great too, because community is so important. We're all sort of headed in the same direction, so why not do it together?
Beautiful. And I would encourage everyone to just reach out to Kruti. She's amazing. She's beautiful. And she has the right mindset with the blueprint that you need to start a business. So be sure to reach out to her. There's her email again. And I will make sure to include this in the episode notes so that you can reach out to her. You can also find her on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, go ahead and take that link address, and then I will also make sure that this is in the episode notes so that you can reach out to her, you can connect with her, and just have a conversation. And she also talked about this earlier, just to have a conversation.
Would love to meet you all.
Any last minute tip or words that you would like to say to our audience?
Yeah, just don't be afraid to invest upfront. Yeah, it's a little bit of time and a little bit of money, but that time and money in making sure that you're kicking off your business in the right way is going to save you so much hassle down the line. And believe me, if you want to talk about hassle, talk to me. I did it the wrong way. And so I would love to be able to share with you my lessons learned and how you can move forward with a lot more ease.
Yay! Thank you so much, Kruti. Thank you so much
You,
for
Michelle.
coming.
I love my time with you no matter what we do.
Mwah. I'm going to put you to the backstage so that I can wrap this up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching and staying on. Those of you who stayed on, be sure to put it in the comment if you have any question for Kruti. I will make sure that she sees this and then get back to you. And I will bring another episode in next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So be sure to come back here, or you can head over to my website at elevatelifecoaching.org/podcast to subscribe a podcast version of this episode. So I will see everyone next week. Bye.